All right, guys, I wanted to make this video when I originally got this fish catch on camera, really almost a year ago now. And I never got around to it. And now that I'm getting around to it, I have somehow lost the original clip, the original fish catch. So I've lost the wide screen angle. So you're just going to have to bear with me with this reel that I made a while ago, and I just resaved to my system, and we're just going to use this. But I think this clip does a very, very good job at breaking down as to why I choose to use the equipment that I use out here on Lake Okeechobee, really everyday fishing, but specifically when flipping out here. You know, I get told all the time, you don't need 65-pound braid. You don't need to set the hook like you're setting the hook on a great white. And you don't need a 7.6 or a 8-foot heavy action rod to do what you do. You know, bass fishermen are a joke, but this shows exactly why I choose to use what I use, and I'm going to kind of break it down for you guys here because I don't know, it's just something that I think will help a lot of you guys here in the near future, being that we're getting into grass flipping season here in the summer. So you can see I'm flipping this is a 7.9 jig rod that it's a Senko Sticks that Alex built me years ago when he first got into business. And still flipping it today. And I'm flipping a 1-ounce Jigzilla, Gambler Jigzilla in this clip. And you can see we're kind of in what more or less is a boat lane here, flipping some thick grass. Kelly's targeting right on the edge of the grass where I'm flipping my jig, I don't know, say 3 feet back up inside the grass from the boat lane. All right. And we're just kind of going down this lane, doing what we do. And, you kind of see here, I let the jig just kind of dead stick and free fall to the bottom. And then once it's on the bottom, I kind of give it a 4 or 5 count, just letting it dead stick on the bottom before I go to lift up or go to kind of hop my jig, if you will. I apologize for the super crappy slow-mo footage. All right, so you can see I go to engage the reel, and immediately you will see that my rod starts to slowly load up, which obviously what's everyone do? You're checking to see if you're on a piece of grass or you're checking to see if it's a bite. I pretty quickly realize that it's a bite, and what I don't know is that my rod is not loading down on the weight of the fish. What it's actually doing is loading on a blade or two, a stalk or two of that thick Kissimmee grass there. So I'm guessing, that my fish is right straight down where my line is. What I don't know is that this fish at this point is literally 8 inches off of the trolling motor. That fish ate the jig on the way down and swam out into the boat lane in front of the boat. What my rod is loading is from the line that wrapped around a few stalks and is bowed around it, and that's where the weight's coming from. So you'll see when I jump back to set the hook and swing, my rod doesn't load until very high up in the hook set. You guys see there, it's what we call high sticking. And the reason for that is because the fish is, you can see now that my line is straight down. Right, that fish is literally right in front of the graph there, right in front of the screen. And I look down and see her open her mouth up and start wallowing. But what that hook set did and that longer rod enabled me to do was that 65-pound braid cut through, say, a dozen stalks of Kissimmee grass, okay, on the way up. It sliced through there like a weed whacker. And when that extra, say, 5 to 8 inches of rod that I had up in the air enabled me to load that section of rod and drive that jig home into that fish's mouth right underneath my boat, where if I wouldn't have set the hook as hard, or even if I would have been using a 7.2 or a 7-foot medium heavy or heavy action rod even, I wouldn't have had enough rod to load, because it would have thrown a bunch of slack in the line once those stalks of Kissimmee grass were cut. So that's why I preach to reel down. Don't slack line hooks that get as much slack out of the line as you can. Step back and set the hook very hard. And it's not just because you're trying to drive the hook home in a fish. It's what obstacles might interfere with that hook set along the way. You don't have time to break down exactly what's going on once you detect that you have a bite. So reel down, set the hook, and try to load that rod and keep that braid as tight as you can. And obviously fishing a longer rod like a 7.6, a 7.8, 7.9, or even a 7.11 will greatly, increase your hookup ratio. You could see that jig stuck right in that 9-pounder's nose, which I'd prefer it to be down in her crunchers, but either way, the fish got in the boat. And here's the deal. That 9-pounder gave us a whopping 14 pounds that day. That was the biggest waste of a 9-pounder I've ever caught. This wasn't a tournament, but that could have very, easily have been a big fish of a tournament that could have been a tournament winning fish. We literally had 4 minutes left to go. Or it could just be a fish of a lifetime for most people. So this is what I mean when you want to have all of your gear, all of your equipment top tier. You want to be using the right tools for the job. And here's the deal: you don't need heavy braid, heavy action rods, or what have you. You don't need to set the hook like a madman for every application or every presentation in bass fishing. But I don't use this stuff to look cool on camera. I don't have an ego problem. But this fish very well could have never ended up in this boat if I didn't have the proper equipment. So just something to look into. Just try it. Take your time. Don't be afraid to pull hard. Flip. Again, I'm going to say it again. I never pitch or flip on Lake Okeechobee with anything less than a 7'6" action rod. And I just thought that would show you guys kind of a prime example as to why. So pretty cool fish catch. Hopefully I catch a 9-pounder for you guys again soon. And appreciate you guys tuning into this one. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If you're in the market for a new flipping rod, feel free to use the code TIGHTSPLICE at checkout for a new Senko Sticks action rod. Not action rod. I meant to say flipping rod. And I will see you guys on the next one. Later.